Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good all of it. Welcome from Planet Mickey. Woo!
Planet or Club Mickey, which
Yeah, Club Mickey. Yeah.
yeah.
Minnie's over there. I don't want to go grab her. We could do two little. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we got big Mickey here. And we got little Mickey. So.
Just don't get graphic with them.
Not me, man. I'm not gonna affect the way Mickey's portrayed,
Yeah.
dude. And I have to tell you, it's kind of funny. So, for those of you guys that follow like patent law or whatever, and even you don't have to because it made such a big deal about it. How Steamboat Willie is finally in the, free domain.
Yeah.
There's a horror movie that literally came out the day that was announced. That's based off of Steamboat Willie and that version of Mickey Mouse. And I'm like, and this is why. This is why we shouldn't have access to that. This is not my office. I am currently in Orlando. Haley is doing one of the Disney runs. This weekend is what's called Princess Weekend. Normally, Haley and I do the Princess Half Marathon. This year, we opted to just do the 5K with the three of us. So me, Sue, and Haley, which is tomorrow morning. We have to leave here at 3:30 a.m.
Nice.
Yeah, no. And then the day after, we're going to do the 10K. For those of you that are playing at home, that's like 6.2 miles. I don't know. It's barely enough to get me out of bed. So that is why we are here. And that is why I'm not in my office. And that is why these two goofballs are on the wall. So it will be fun. Yeah, it is definitely dedication to. Well, no, I mean it's Thursday night. What else are you gonna do? I mean,
Exactly.
I don't have to get up and do the news tomorrow. I don't have to be at work, so I do have. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're gonna get up. We're gonna do this thing, and then we're coming home, and I will be back in bed. I will be back in bed by 7:00. I can tell you. So have no fear.
Listen, I can start us off with food and a complaint at the same time.
Do it. Hit it.
Right. So let's start off with the good, or should we start off with the bad?
I like the bad. Just
okay. So all right.
The vegetables first, kind of.
Girl Scout cookies.
What's that?
Girl Scout cookies.
Oh.
Put a Girl Scout cookie order in, and I go to tear into what I know as a Samoa. That is a caramel delight now.
Oh.
They changed it because Samoans are offended, apparently.
Okay. I mean, sure. I mean, I don't want to be associated with a Girl Scout cookie. I mean, does it taste the same?
Yeah, it's the same thing. But it's just like, why?
Samoa for 30 years and now it can't be.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't even know how it's offensive. Like, that's the part to me. Like, I understand, like, there's a lot of offensive stuff that has got reversed for the better, right?
Yeah.
But on this one, it's not like they're portraying it on the there's no logo. It's just the name, Samoa. Like the country. There's like a country called Samoa, right?
Yeah.
So.
Or Samoans, yeah. I mean, apparently Casey says it's been that way for a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't order any Girl Scout cookies this year.
Well, the good part is, let's just talk about, I have 3 favorite Girl Scout cookies.
Okay.
And
where we fall.
Let's name them. And they're probably they're the most basic bitch Girl Scout cookies you can get.
Well, I'm with you with Samoans. Yeah. Or Caramel Delight, whatever the hell. The purple box.
Wherever they are now. Love those.
The purple box is fantastic.
The green box, Thin Mints. I also like those. A lot of people hate them. Those are divisive.
I'm a hater.
And then I like the regular shortbread cookies, the trefoils.
The yellow.
The yellow, correct.
So you like purple, green, and yellow.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, I got them at work because a lady at work, her daughter was selling them, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting you, dude. In one day, 1 8-hour day at work, maybe like 9-hour day at work, I ate a whole sleeve of those trefoils.
I could see that.
And then I was like, you know what? These cannot stay here. I gotta take these home so someone
So
else can help me eat them.
I will say that the green box and yellow box is definitely the best value,
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah,
um,
because you get a bunch
because
of
they're just terrible cookies, and
yeah.
they give you a whole bunch of them because you only get like 12 Samoas in a box or some stupid
Mhm.
shit like that. So it's like you could literally eat the whole box and accidentally go, "Oh shit, I just ate the whole
Yeah,
box."
you definitely can.
Where you get the 2 sleeves in the green box, and it's probably 2 sleeves in the yellow box,
Yeah.
and I don't want 1 sleeve. I mean, I've cleaned out the freezer and found a row of Thin Mints that are probably in there from, like, 2 years, and they're like, "Oh, no, they're fine." I'm like, "No, they're not. That's disgusting." Like,
And
just
those are the ones that are left. So the Samoas are gone. I like the tin cookies that old
yeah,
ladies put all their sewing.
yeah, butter cookies. Yeah,
Dude, I like them.
Christmas time.
I don't know why, but I like those kind
Oh,
of
I
cookies.
like those too in December. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, one of them comes shaped as a pretzel, and
Mhm.
yeah, no, those are fantastic. I like the red box, the peanut butter red
Oh,
box.
see, I love peanut butter. I don't like peanut butter flavored things,
Well, I mean, it has peanut
especially
butter on it.
peanut butter cups. Like, I don't like peanut butter cookies.
Okay.
I don't like peanut butter pie that they make.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Hmm.
What else don't I like? But I
Wow.
love peanut butter. Like, I love peanut butter. Like,
You're just an old school peanut butter guy.
yeah, just like the peanut butter. Although the one thing that I hate this so bad it makes me nauseous. What Cassie does is on her pancakes, instead of syrup, she puts peanut butter on them.
Nope. That's no. No.
And
Sorry.
just the smell of it makes me nauseous. And I love peanut butter.
So put peanut butter in your ice cream. Delicious. No, and I'll go with you on that one. So when when I get like vanilla uh, ice cream, the no
Hmm.
sugar added, whatever crazy vanilla ice cream, like when I'm on that thing, um, I'll get some natural peanut butter and put it in there. Yeah, that
Dude,
does taste
natural
pretty
peanut
good.
butter is the king of all peanut butter.
Yeah, that tastes really good. A scoop of that with that vanilla ice cream is yummy for
Dude,
sure.
I sometimes listen, this goes into my crazy things from the last show. Sometimes if I'm just wanting a late snack, I will
Spoonful
literally
of peanut butter.
just get a small spoonful of peanut butter and that'll do it.
Yeah, that never happens in my world. Like not once has that ever happened. I mean, if there's like a Hershey bar in the refrigerator,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, there's a Hershey bar. I'm gonna be like, oh well, I'm gonna put my Hershey bar in your peanut butter. Might do that like once every couple years because there's
Man,
never a Hershey bar.
I'll just go hard for the peanut butter. Although I remember when we were kids, so my little brother we'd had the natural peanut butter. It was actually the government peanut butter. Remember when they had that, the white label government?
Oh no, we weren't that rich at
D-
all.
Listen, it was actually really good peanut butter, but the
I'm
oil was
sure.
thick, right? What my
Yeah.
brother would do is he'd barely mix that shit up, and then he'd make his sandwiches all wheat, so oily, and then by the time I got the peanut butter,
Oh
dry as shit you ever had in
yeah.
your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. You had paste.
It's like, dude, you can't even spread it on the bread. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Oh yeah, okay. So he wants to do peanut butter and jelly. What's your go-to peanut butter brand?
yeah.
What do you like, Jeff?
I'm a Peter Pan guy, even though they had like a salmonella breakout. Or
Everyone does at some
yeah,
point.
but I like the Peter Pan peanut butter. I don't dislike Jif,
Yeah.
but I like the
No nuts or no
Smucker's
nuts.
is good as well. The Smucker's natural is good.
Yeah, I've had that. That's good. Nuts or no nuts. Crunchy or not crunchy.
I'll eat either, but I like creamy peanut butter.
I don't know if I have a preference.
Yeah,
I feel like the only thing we have is smooth because Haley doesn't like peanuts. She's weird. She likes peanuts. She doesn't like peanuts.
yeah,
Doesn't like peanuts in certain things. I don't know. She drives me crazy.
yeah,
But I like extra crunchy. Oh, there you go. That's good.
yeah. That's
So
the only problem with that is every now and again you'll bite very hard on one that's a little too hard, and it's
coming in hot.
like no, no.
We're smelling the world is when someone leaves a glob of peanut butter on the knife.
Oh, dude, I never put that to words, but that's 100% true.
I would never do that.
I agree. You know what I did on it? Matter of fact, so this is totally my fault. So the night before, I had we ate really early for dinner, and I was hungry, so I made a small peanut butter, like a half peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay.
I put the spoon in there. Well, the next day I come home for lunch. You know, it was late night, so dishes had already been done, and I didn't wash that. And I made ramen for lunch, pack of ramen. I poured that ramen because I don't keep all the ramen juice. I only keep a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Poured it on the peanut butter knife, and it did not smell very good at all. That was recently. That was like last week.
Ooh, yes. No. I couldn't tell you the last time the last peanut butter I probably had was like an Uncrustable.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, I just, like very rarely we have bread in the house.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I just don't think to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is it's never crosses my mind. I like it.
Yeah.
I like a hot peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, what was it? Earl of Sandwich used to make a like grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which was just fantastic.
Yeah.
But
maybe with some bananas in it.
No. It was just literally peanut butter and jelly, and they toast it like a grilled cheese, and it was great. But I don't know, man. I don't have any problem with them. It never comes into my head like, oh, I should make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Well, I'm a big sandwich guy in general, so I like Cajun turkey, American cheese, a little bit of mustard.
I think for me,
it's cheddar cheese, but
yeah, I think for me it just comes from high school and like having to have a ham and cheese sandwich every day of the week. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love like a Publix sandwich or what is it, Jimmy John's or Jimmy John, or whatever. I love sandwiches, but the thought of making one at home never crosses my mind. It's weird.
We had a managers meeting last week. They brought a bunch of sandwiches from Jersey Mike's.
Yes.
So we go through there, and I'm like, okay, they just got a mix of all the different sandwiches.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not fucking around. Like, I'm getting turkey and provolone. Like, I'm not gonna get all this other stuff. Sure enough, and I give like 3 people this advice: like, turkey and provolone. You can go ham and cheese if you want. That's the other safe bet. Like all this other stuff, like don't even check it. Like, you already know these 2 things are good. So I get mine, and dude, everyone's complaining about the sandwich. It's got the salami, all the other things in it, and they're talking about like it tastes like everything and nothing all at once. I was like, I told you, man, turkey. Just get the turkey sandwich. Why even mess around?
Jersey Mike's is a hard one for me because they're so messy.
Oh, they are very messy.
And it's like, guys, clean up. I have such a hard time going there because it's just always messy. And I'm just like, can we go to Jimmy John's? I want the turkey time.
They slice their meat fresh. Instead of like Subway's, they always have it in the package, and it's just kind of wild.
I don't care. I just I hate messy things. It's like it's so gross. Whatever. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Clean it every now and then would be just fantastic. But so what was the good thing?
The good thing was that I ate the whole sleeve of trefoils, and they were delicious.
Yeah. Delicious. Okay.
That was basically my lunch for that day.
I mean, I would think so.
I maybe had a bag of chips and then a whole sleeve of trefoils throughout the day. So
that's like a Fernando lunch. I'm over there eating a rice cake and a thing of tuna fish, and he's eating half a bag of Doritos, and I'm going, it's fucking weird. I did. It was funny. Our a buddy of ours, a guy by the name of John Catalano. We've had him on the show before. His hobby is cooking, and he's said for years, I'm just gonna bring you guys lunch. I'm gonna bring you guys lunch. I'm gonna bring you guys lunch.
Yeah.
So last week he brought us lunch, and it was like It was the craziest shit ever that he made. It was like chicken, 2 different types of chicken, and homemade salsa, and like chips that he like. I mean, it was nuts, and I'm just like, this is really good. Like, we're gonna need a nap now. Great, because like we don't ever. One of the reasons why we don't do lunch is because when you eat lunch, it's like you need a nap. Yeah, and so it's like I don't really like to eat a meal because I'll just be like,
totally happened to me today.
Yeah.
So one of my good friends at work, it was his last day at work. He's going on to a new job. So originally I was just going to take him out and buy him lunch, for his last day. Well, everybody in the quality department's like, hey, we can't all leave at once. Do you want to just have lunch here? We'll just order in and eat in the cafeteria. Like, yeah, we can do that for sure. So I'm thinking, kind of like a light lunch. They're like, oh no, let's get Longhorn Steakhouse.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, dude, this is heavy for lunch, Like, I'm not gonna be able to do shit after this. So anyways, I buy his steak, buy my steak, and I'm struggling, man. I got this 6-ounce steak, and I'm struggling to finish it because they give you a whole loaf of bread.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And matter of fact, I just another one of my buddies sitting there. I was like, hey, you want half my bread? We split the bread, and I could barely finish that. And someone brought the quality supervisor brought a whole slab of crumbled cookies. And I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like, I barely ate this steak.
Yeah, it's like drinking drinking for lunchtime,
dude. And then they had the iced oatmeal, which I've never tried from there. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut half a piece off. Took one bite, pushed me over the edge. It was a really good cookie, but one bite and I was just done for the day, man. I was absolute trash at work after that. And I blame it all on the heavy meal. We should have.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah, Jersey Mike's. I used to work for a block from work. I'd go home and fall asleep. Yeah, I would never be able to do that because I would never go back. I have to just trudge through. Like, I can't stop.
Yeah.
Like, there is no stopping. I mean, because that's just it. I mean, even my day, it doesn't know what to do with itself. Because, on a Sunday when I have a day off, it's like I have stuff to do, and I got to get up right in the morning and do it, or it's never getting done.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I stop, it's like it's over. My brain is like, oh, we're not going to do anything else? No. All right, cool.
Cassie doesn't get that. Like, I try to explain to her, like, when you come home from work, right, all you have to do is like the dishes from whenever I cook, like whatever. I got to be thinking about like what video am I doing? Like, now I'm selling on Whatnot every Friday, like, so I got to get shipments out and stuff like this. And it's like, you just don't understand. Like, you come home, you can sit for 2 or 3 hours, do the dishes at your leisure, and then after that, go on to bed.
Oh yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I mean, like last week we were all sick, and so I didn't edit anything because like I was dead. I mean, I was coming home and I'm just like, I gotta go to sleep, and I still had some things I had to do.
Yeah.
But it was like pulling fucking teeth because you're dragging all day, and then you're just like, oh my God, I just need to go to bed. And then the guilt sets in, like, oh man, I really need to edit something. I don't have it in me.
There's that YouTube guilt, dude. It doesn't like I told myself I wasn't gonna do as much,
I felt so great getting the 2 videos out this week for people to watch. I was like, oh thank God. Install diaries, everyone will be happy. Oh, thank God.
Any free time you have as a YouTuber, it's like, I could be working on something right now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's actually make your brain like, no, just do this thing that everyone wants to do.
No, it's like even doing this trip with the girls is pushing me over the edge because it's like, we leave Saturday, next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We'll Master Tech Expo starts, and I have so much shit to do. A lot of it is done, but it's just the little things now. So like we built the trophies for the build off. I was there till like 10 o'clock building those. I have to, when I get back, I have to build the Clean Wire Challenge trophy. And then I have to build all the names. So we have to make all the names, even though there's only going to be one guy that wins this and 3 guys that win that. I still have to,
right? Yeah.
have to create all the names. And so it's like, you know, we're going to get back. I get back Monday and I'm like, I don't know what I have to work on, but I'll be going, you know, if I got to stay till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then we had, oh man, I had tragedy. So I wanted to laser the top of these amplifiers.
Yeah.
Came up with this awesome artwork and I was going to laser the top of the amplifiers. And there's a spray that you put on it to bake into the top of the amplifier. The laser just cooks it in. And one of the amplifiers had a weird color to it that the other one didn't have. And so it worked on one and didn't work on the other. And I was like, well, let me just try putting it on now that it's already lasered at once. And so we kind of did it and it looked okay. I was like, oh, all right. So it worked. Let's just spray it all over again and we'll do it one more time. And it looked fantastic. And I went to take the water to wipe all the excess and it wiped the whole thing clean.
Oh, damn.
I'm like 3.5 hours worth of shit down the toilet. And now amps
similar happened like that. This week I got home and I'm refinishing some golf clubs.
Yeah.
Have you ever powder coated anything?
No.
So I haven't either, but I got the powder coating kit. Got it all set up, hooked up to electrodes and everything. Tested it out, like, okay, I got it spraying how I want. And I get them all set up and I go to spray, man, just like, oh, like I'm talking this thick of powder, like what the, like, all right, maybe it'll just shake off, you know, because it's supposed to be electronically.
Yeah.
No, I didn't stick it all. Like I went to wipe it off, like all of it's gone. I literally spent 2 hours watching the video, setting all this up, making sure the garage was like a clean area so I don't get anything else.
Yeah.
Complete and utter fail. So I need to dial it back and figure out what the hell I'm doing with that, because the first round was an absolute fail and it killed about 4 hours.
Yeah. But the sad thing is, you know, for this, it's just the laser. So you're just sitting there going, you know, praying that it's going to work. And then it didn't. And then it was like, oh my God, you know. And so now these 2 amplifiers are destroyed and they're going to end up in the trash can or who knows what, you know, because I'm just looking at them going, well, this sucks, you know. But hey, you know, luckily I had some extras sitting on the shelf. I go, we're going to do these now. All right. You know. And then we had to do a bunch of other crap, and then we had to put it in a box and we had to ship it off to Arizona. And it's like, man, teaching classes is expensive.
You need to start sending some invoices out. Yeah,
dude, it's crazy. But
in the midst of all that, I was so I had about a 50-year-old golf club I'm wanting to restore.
Nice.
And I'm trying to heat the heads to remove it from the shaft so I can refinish it. And I've got it heated up. Every one that I've done so far up to this point, easy. Heat it up. I can either twist it off by hand or lightly hit it with like an engineer's hammer.
Yeah.
Heat it up, go to hit it. It literally breaks the shaft off. I'm like, we're done. We're done. Ruined a 50-year-old putter.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Yeah. I like whereas nowadays I've moved in the field. You know, and it's funny too, because a lot of guys that move into the field, they start eating at McDonald's and shit like that, and it just tears them up. But fruit and water, yeah.
You got to keep it light for lunch, no matter like anything I eat. Like if I come home, I'll eat like a thing of noodles, which you know that doesn't sit too heavy on you. Or like some soup or something easy or a quick snack.
I mean, if I can, I just snack. Like I like snacking. To me, is usually like if I'm hungry, I'll grab. You know, I usually have something that's a snack food. That I'll just have that. But I also keep those packets of tuna because my doctor's like, you need to eat more fish. I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, let's eat more fish. You know, but I do eat oatmeal for breakfast. I really like having oatmeal.
I like oatmeal too. I typically don't have it. I have, what do I usually have? Maybe like some toast. And a lot of times I don't eat a lot of breakfast. That's kind of my problem.
No, I buy the little cups.
Yeah.
45 seconds. So what I do is I'll cook them, and they're soupy. So now tape the lid back on with the spoon stuck in, and I'll drive to work. And then when I get to work, it's usually to the right consistency so that I can eat it.
What's your flavor? The basic, or do you go?
Oh no, I get whatever the protein ones are.
No,
you know, so it's like
I like the apple. I like the apple.
So the apple doesn't fall into the protein one, but they do have like a cranberry something that's usually pretty good. Blueberries,
I like
good.
A little bit of fruit in there. I like. I mean, I don't dislike the brown sugar flavor either, but
yeah, no, I like that one. I'm not super picky. Like,
yeah,
like there's one like peanut butter and chocolate that is disgusting.
I don't think I would eat that just because of the whole peanut butter thing. But
yeah, it's gross. It is. It's so gross. Yeah, it's so funny. So, did you watch this, The Greatest Night in Pop?
Unfortunately,
yeah,
dude. So let me just say this: like, I love kind of the story how this came together.
Mm-hmm.
I think all that stuff's very cool, like how it came together, what happened, and all that. But for whatever reason, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but like this documentary just was not. It didn't capture me. Like I was literally bored. Like they were telling a very cool story, and the way it was cut, the way it was shot, the voiceovers, the interviews, just it didn't have anything for me to add to what
it didn't capture the excitement of what was happening.
No, it didn't.
And I can understand that because a lot of the big players are dead.
Right, yeah.
So, and I was excited that they had Lionel Richie there to talk about it.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I thought he brought as much excitement as you could expect from him.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know if they were asking the right questions.
Yeah.
I think they were trying so hard to make this nostalgic that it was just like, you guys are missing the point. This should have come off as like the most crazy night in Hollywood ever.
They showed it. I think they showed it in like such a realistic, like them in the studio, actually seeing how it was day to day. Not, like, I think I would have, like, if I was to cut it, I would try to hype it up and not have as much of the dead moments.
There was a lot of dead moments.
There was a lot, and it's just like what really happened. They were just trying to truly show what happened.
Yeah, which is not what we want.
Right, and I would just rather have like a little, like, put your own spin on it. I think this might have been a straight up documentary. Just old school style, but honestly, it's not like a Ken Burns. I mean, I think Ken Burns would have been a lot better cut, but
I just don't think they captured, and I think it would have been neat if they would have done a little bit more backstory on some of the people.
Yeah,
like like why some of the things that struck me as funny was Stevie Wonder, basically the Great Wrecking Ball coming in to screw everything up.
Yeah, right.
Waylon Jennings going, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought what they did to Sheila E. Was kind of douchey in hopes that Prince would show up. Like, he ain't gonna show up, and she's just like, listen, you're not, I'm out. And I think that was where everyone was going with him. Bob Dylan looked miserable. Oh, he did. And there again, he didn't know what they wanted him to do.
And Cassie was like, well, why does he sound like that? I was like, dude, that's Bob Dylan. That's how Bob Dylan sounds.
Yeah.
Like that, if you ask him to be on something, how he sounds.
Right.
Not to her, but to the people that asked him on.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan does Bob Dylan shit, I mean, he's not going to come out there and just be an absolute crooner.
No.
Bob Dylan.
And I don't know. I just was like, these guys were there till 6 a.m. Like,
yeah.
Oh, what a waste. I mean,
yeah.
I think if they would have showed like the count as people were just like, okay, I'm just doing the chorus. Here's my all right, I'm out. See you, just kind of like just watching the people leave, or I think they could have. I don't know. This is one of those things where it was like, it's amazing they did it
all in the same room instead of doing their own little pieces. I think that's cool, and like the moment where they all we say
whatever.
That part was kind of cool. It's like, all right, it's spontaneous. They're just kind of, getting in there having fun. A bunch of professional musicians.
Yeah. Um, I didn't get anything from it though. I think is really what it came down to. I didn't feel like it was a special evening for anyone. I thought it was just a hassle.
Yeah.
Like no one really seemed like other than Lionel Richie, um, seemed like, oh my god, this was like so cool.
Right.
Um,
I felt
everyone
like
else,
Michael Jackson was he was pretty into it.
yeah. Well, I mean, listen,
He was
guys were into it, but I mean, it's still no one was just like, this is. Let me tell you what, like this was so
I feel like they didn't give us no behind this. Like they didn't give us anything that people who know about this happening don't already know.
correct.
That's
Yeah,
what I want from a
it was
documentary.
just a
Tell me the
report,
stuff I didn't know. Like what didn't I know that happened?
right? It was just like I could have read all that and been like equally as amused. Um, but yeah, I mean, there again, like, and it was shot in 4:3, which I thought was stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Like, I can't get past that. That's just stupid. Why
I,
would we
I
shoot
I
a
was
3?
wondering if they done that because they're using original film, I guess.
Yeah, but they could
They
have
could
done
have
it better. Yes,
they
there
could
was no
have
reason.
fixed it though. They could have fixed it.
My mom and dad had that on vinyl. Thanks. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had it on cassette. I mean,
I
whatever.
had it on cassette as well.
Yeah,
That was like when that song came out, like it was everywhere. That was
well, yeah, but
or
and,
viral.
and that was all those songs like that
Yeah,
that just the Farm Aid and the
yeah.
Christmas one, and it's like, do they know it's Christmas?
Yeah.
No, they don't, because they don't celebrate Christmas. I mean, you arrogant pricks. I mean, Dean,
Uh,
I'm way younger than you. Okay, well, that's good. I mean, oh, I'm not way younger than you. I mean, it's okay. I mean, either way, it's still kind of funny.
it still hurts. Still
Yeah,
the same.
still, yeah. I mean, 47. I'll take 47. Wish I was, but I'm not. Um, so I watched two other documentaries this weekend. One of them was one. It was another one on music. That was on. It was called like The Outlaws.
Yeah.
And it was on Netflix, and it was about the studio bands that played basically every single song that came out between 1960 and 1970.
Oh, geez.
So there's 30 guys and gals that that at that time there was a changeover happening, and the studios in Hollywood became the studios. Like no one was getting shit done in New York. Everybody wanted to be in Hollywood. Everything was done in California. So there's these 30 guys that basically produced or played their instruments on every song that came out from 50s, or sorry, the end of the 50s, because in the end of the 50s they had what they call the vest guys. They were the guys that wore like vests and ties and they played the instruments and shit. And those guys were leaving and these guys were coming in. So like every Beach Boys song, Elvis Presley song, every commercial on every TV show song, these guys all played all these songs.
Yeah.
So like they would play some of them and then be like, "Oh shit," and then be like, "Yeah, that was our song." And a lot of them got no credit whatsoever for it because they were just the studio guys.
Yeah.
Um, but there was a handful of them that everybody wanted this guy to play record, or everybody wanted this lady to play bass.
Right.
And so they're just, these guys would literally just their day would consist of waking up, going to play this song, leaving that studio, going to this studio to play this song, and making this shit up. So it's like these 30 guys basically created, some of them made like bank because even if their name didn't get on it, if it went platinum or gold, they would get paid for it,
Yeah.
And so some of these guys made tons of money. And like it was funny because like on the Beach Boys, these guys all played the Beach Boys songs. Like,
Yeah.
and the Monkees. Like these guys played all the Monkees songs.
Hey, we're the monkeys.
Yeah. You know. And it was just funny to see you know, like they'd play and be like, oh shit, that person did that, you know, and you know, they had like 2 or 3 drummers, and like this guy would be playing on this part of town and this guy playing on the other part of town, but they all played with each other, so like they all could just do whatever needed to be done. And they're like, oh dude, we kick out, you know, 4 or 5 hit songs a day, you know?
So they're probably in their own right making some money because they may have only done 2 hits that day, but
Oh yeah,
it's more than anybody else had as a studio, you know.
right. And some of them, you know, they would just do it for, you know, whatever base is in the hopes that the song would become popular.
Right.
But it was funny because, like, you know, the guys that the real band would be like, oh shit, this guy's gonna play my part. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he'll do a way better job than I will. You know, because they'd only have to play it live, and for live, it was like, whatever, it was a scratch track. You
It
know,
reminds me of I listened to a whole podcast series where I think it was The Who. There was a studio band that a guy contracted because The Who, it might have been another band, but they couldn't make it. The lead singer couldn't make it for whatever reason.
okay,
Like them to cover their spot in the UK. They were so good that he took them to the US because this was before you knew what The Who looked like.
yeah,
He was taking them around to bars and selling them as The Who.
oh,
Until people found out, like, hey, that's not this guy. That's not this band.
right,
And, you know, ended up getting sued to oblivion. And then this band went on to form another band who ended up being a one-hit wonder. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's like a pretty solid song.
that's funny.
So it was
Well,
interesting.
well, it was funny because like the Mamas and the Papas, there's these four singers, and they were backup singers,
Yeah.
and they brought them in to do this backup part of the song, and they're like, wait a minute, just
That's
sing
what
this song, you know. The real Who was
yeah,
probably,
I think that's what it was.
yeah, too drunk. Yeah, I can see that. So they let these guys sing it, and they were like, well, screw it, these guys just killed it. The backup singers became the singers, and that's how the Mamas and Papas formed, because literally it was just like, you know. And it's funny you say the Who, because the Who was the other documentary I watched, the making of the album Tommy,
Yeah.
which is their rock and what the hell do they call that, opera. They did a rock opera, so Tommy is a rock opera.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea. And so what is it, Pete Townsend? No, who's the guitarist? Is that Roger Daltrey? So you have Daltrey and Townsend.
Yeah.
So I think Townsend is the guitar player. Either way, the guitar player is the guy that writes everything, and everyone else just kind of plays along with whatever the hell he wants them to do. So he's the band. You know, you have the singer, he has no say whatsoever in anything. He just gets up there and does his shit. And the drummer just beats way too fucking hard on the drums, which had never occurred to me other than this other documentary I watched where they're talking about how this guy hates the fucking Who because the drummer is way too prevalent. And I was like, I never noticed that, but you're right. The drummer is fucking obnoxious. And then they had the bassist, and he had like 4 speaking roles in the whole thing where it was like, yeah, we did that shit. You know, but it was funny because now that they're older, it's great to hear these guys talk about this shit in like
A candid way.
yeah. And I love that because they're just like, you know, at the time this is what we were thinking.
Yeah.
And it was cool, but you know, now people are like, dude, that was fucking insane what you guys did. You know, because he was pissed because he was like, you know, we have these songs. We had these songs that they were all singles. And I was mad at myself because we've just never had a consecutive row of amazing songs. And I'm just like over this shit. And he's like, I've always wanted to write this rock opera.
Yeah.
And so I was, fuck it. You know, we're not doing it. It's either we do this and we succeed, or we fucking wrap it up and call it a day. Because if we can't make this work, then what's the point? You know, we're just going to be one hit, one hit, one hit, one hit. He goes, that's just stupid. So, and then they wrote Tommy, and that's what put him over. And, you know, Pinball Wizard is the one big song off of that. But it was just funny. It's like, dude, they literally like hired out opera halls and they were doing this. And they made a movie, and I was like, holy crap, I didn't know any of this stuff.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so they made a movie, which crazy,
based off of the opera.
Yeah, and like, so this whole thing was just huge for them, and that's really what put them over to get, you know, that.
And that wasn't even the album that had the.
No, who are you? No,
yeah.
No. But there again, that was the problem, is that they were just these one song guys,
right?
That, you know, they were doing okay, but they wanted, you know, he wanted more. He was like, fuck this, you know, I'm too good of a writer to not come out with something that's badass. So he blamed himself, and he was like, then he wrote this thing
and I had to fix it, and he fixed himself. Yeah.
And it was funny because the lead singer was like, he's like, you know, these songs were good. Like, so the Pinball Wizard came because they brought in a guy, you know, the studio brought in a guy and said, hey, do us a favor, listen to this, just give us a reality check, let us know how we're doing on this. I said, okay. So he listens to it, he goes, it's a solid 4. He goes, well, what would it take to make it a 5? He goes, I don't know, but there's not a 5 here. And he goes, well, what if I wrote a song? At the time, everybody played pinball. He goes, what if I wrote, and he'd played pinball with this guy, and he goes, what if I wrote a song about pinball? He goes, if you can fucking write a song about pinball, I'll make this a fucking 5. So I went home that night and literally wrote the whole song with the instrumentals and everything, Pinball Wizard. Yeah. And he sung it. And he came back in the next morning and he goes, here's our song. It's about fucking pinball. And the singer heard it and he's like, okay, this sucks, but let me sing it and it'll be amazing. And sure enough, you know, that's his one contribution to the band, is he can fucking sing.
Yeah.
And so he got up there and ripped that shit up, and that's a song everybody fucking knows. So, you know, it's like, all right, you know. But it was weird to have. It's always amazing to hear these guys talk about this music and what it does to their lives.
Yeah. Well, it's like Cassie can't understand. Like, sometimes I'll sit in here and just listen to music, and she's like, and do nothing else. Like, yeah, I'm just enjoying the music. Like, I'm just in here jamming, you know, I'm having a good time listening to music. I love music. Like, that's the whole reason I got into car audio.
Right.
I love music in general.
Yeah.
That's why I got into car audio. That was the 65%. The other 35% was, it's split up into one. I thought girls would like it. You know, you're a dumb kid. You don't know any better.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what turned out happening is other dudes liked it. So it's like you make friends like, oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So that's how that went.
You know, a lot of guys don't have home audio. That's one of the questions we always ask people at our trainings. It's like, all right, what do you guys have for a reference system? And they just kind of look at you like, what are you talking about? And you're like, okay, never mind. All right, so you've actually never heard 2-channel audio before. Perfect. Where do we start?
That's the one good thing that I will give all iMacs that I've had. They've had really nice headphone outputs.
Yeah,
they can drive pretty decent headphones, so I'll give them credit. The other one totally crapped out on me. This is a new iMac, but we're up and rolling again, and I've tested the headphone jack. It worked. Well,
the other funny one another experiment I did this week that was kind of interesting was, we were watching. So big fan of Van Halen, love Eddie Van Halen, love the guitar, own the guitar. We've all seen the guitar in the back. And this guy, I was watching a podcast on Van Halen, and they were talking specifically about Van Halen 1. And when Van Halen 1 dropped, some of the backstory about it, like how Gene Simmons wanted to wanted to produce them, and Paul Stanley and Doc talked him out of it.
Yeah.
And so he cut him free, and that's why David Lee Roth hates Gene Simmons. But they were like, this guy was talking about, his brother came home. He had borrowed Van Halen 1, the record, from his friend, was like, you have to hear this. Like, this is insane. And played it for him, and they just sat there and listened to the whole record, which is hard to do because the last 2 songs are terrible. But the first, 5 songs are just fantastic, and they don't start with Eruption.
Yeah.
Until that's like song 2, because that goes into Pretty Woman. But the first song is great, and they do the whole, there's like sirens and stuff at the beginning, and then it goes into the guitar, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, that was weird. And then it goes into Eruption, and you're just like, what the fuck is that? So the idea was I was going to sit back and relax and listen to this as if it was the 70s again, and I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
And nothing like that, and how that would play out, because I didn't get the opportunity to do that back then. I listened to some AC/DC and some Kiss and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have the appreciation for music the way I do now. And it was just neat to sit there and listen to this and think, there was nothing like this. Like, this guy is just coming out of fucking nowhere doing this whole shit on his guitar, and you're just going, like, I'm sure for months people were trying to figure out what in the fuck this guy was doing. How was he making these things sound this way?
Yeah.
Yeah, headphones I have, but yeah, not quite the same. No, you have to have really nice headphones, and even headphones, unless you have like a really nice set of open back headphones,
you don't get the space.
Yeah, it just keeps it to here, and it's like, it's hard to get, especially speaker based, regular magnet style speakers.
Planars,
yeah, planars are better. Stacks are amazing, electrostatics, but those are like, oh, how much? Okay, never mind. You can keep those right over there. But yeah, there you go.
By the time I started with cassettes. That was the first thing I had a Walkman. I would literally, I think when I got the first cassette I bought with my own money was Metallica Kill 'Em All.
Nice.
So, dude, and back then you pull it out and you have the booklet that tells the story of everything.
Yeah. You just read it.
So
while you're jamming out.
And you like, that was the experience, man. That was awesome.
That was like reading the back of the box of cereal.
Listen, it's like there's nothing like that today, because back then people took time. Like, how am I going to lay this out?
Right.
They expected people to listen to it front and back, not just. They had singles, of course. You could buy single sets, you could buy single records.
Yep.
But the album was kind of more thought out than it is now. I don't know, for better or for worse, but now not many artists are doing.
No, it's just singles. It's literally just singles. There's no story there. Like those first 3 songs or first 5 songs on that record play like, this is it plays like, holy crap. Like, it is just one bang thing after the next. And then as you get to the end of the record, where those last 2 songs are just like, we had to do something. And you're like, okay, these, I don't know what these are.
But hard to finish, easy to start, hard to finish.
Yeah.
That's another
one. To see, pretty sick.
Yeah. I bought the Hifivega album, which is just a bunch of babies hanging on clotheslines, a skeleton hanging babies upside down on clotheslines.
Yeah.
Pretty artwork for a 12-year-old to have.
I mean, hey, whatever works for you.
I made it out okay. But do you know who T-Pain is?
Yeah.
All right. So the auto-tune guy that was huge.
Yeah. We watched all that shit.
So this dude has had a renaissance. He's like in a renaissance era. I watched a whole documentary on YouTube about him. And, he's just blunt with it, telling about like, hey, like, I'm a real musician. He said, I tried to be a real musician and make it that way. I couldn't make it. He said, when I discovered auto-tune, and he was one of the first big ones that did it, he's like, this gives me a unique voice, And then he, as he's like, yeah, and then people like that, so I just kept doing more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And and the rest of them like, would you change it? He's like, no, because that got me to the spot I needed to be to make music.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's kind of turned where he's mentoring other people in music, and he's doing like a lot of covers, like he done just like War Pigs.
Yes, so, yeah, I heard that. Yes,
yeah, that was done good. He's done like a couple really good covers.
Pink Floyd, yeah.
No, Black Sabbath.
Oh yeah. Yes, sorry. So T-Pain, he heard Cher because Cher was really the first auto tune, and so he spent the next year trying to find that, and then because no one knew what it was, no one would share.
Can you believe?
Yeah. And so once he finally got his hands on it, and then he became T-Pain. And then if you really want to see T-Pain, NPR's Tiny Desk, when he did NPR's Tiny Desk, that was unplugged, and so he sang his song without auto tunes, and literally everyone just sat there and was like,
holy shit, this dude can actually sing.
This guy can fucking sing, yeah. So like that's all in a documentary. I don't know which one it was in, but I've watched it, and it was all about T-Pain. And yeah, I mean hey, if the gimmick works, run the gimmick, right? And then just know when you can let the gimmick go, at some point people are, hopefully they like you enough to where they respect the gimmick, but they also go, oh shit, like, I mean, professional wrestling, right? I feel professional wrestling is just one of those things that mirrors life. Maybe the older stuff, not the newer stuff, because I haven't watched any of the newer stuff. But Hulk Hogan has flip-flopped and healed so many times that say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Let's burn this city to the ground. But they're again,
so upset when Hulk Hogan went NWO.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it was fantastic, right? I mean, but that's just it. You have to know when to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And as many people as you piss off, you're gonna win them all back. Because the minute you flip back, they're all back, right? You put that yellow and red on, and the world is yours again.
Yep.
And then you brought all these guys that thought, oh wait, he's good again. That's all right. He's Hulk Hogan. Or The Rock. I mean, or Stone Cold, or the gimmicks that these guys run are perfect. Yeah, War Pigs. Yeah. I feel like that's just it, though. It's like, what is the next gimmick?
Yeah.
And if your fans are fans of you, then they'll come with you on your gimmick.
Yeah.
Because they like it. It's the quality of the gimmick that I think matters most.
Well, and I've seen this separate. I've been watching a lot of YouTube documentaries, like short ones.
Oh, nice.
And they were talking about rappers that spent ridiculous amount of money on jewelry and just how ridiculous it is. And they're pointing out, well, T-Pain was on one of those. But they had him on there, and they were talking about it. He's like, yeah, it's the dumbest shit I ever did. He said, but he's like, you got to remember, he's like, I was a young guy. I blew up super fast. He's like, I had all this money. And he's like, along with that comes ego. You think you're the best for a minute. And it's like, and someone said I wouldn't do this. So I did that. And then they're like, well, what happened with the chain? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, so 500,000 gone. He's like, yeah, 500,000 gone. I don't know where it went.
Yeah. Like, somebody's got it. Are you not entertained? Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's the best line ever.
Yeah.
It's funny. I hate Guns N' Roses with a passion. Like, I cannot listen to those guys
at all.
At all. There's not one redeeming thing. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't mind their music per se. I just don't want them singing it.
So you don't like Axl Rose?
I hate Axl Rose with a passion.
That's a totally fair assessment. I do.
He just. Oh my god! And dude, when AC/DC came out and said that like they're gonna let Brian retire and they're gonna bring in Axl Rose to sing AC/DC shit,
especially after post plastic surgery, Axl Rose. Oh,
I don't know. As soon as they said that, though, I go, all right, well, I'm done with AC/DC because
that's it. Yeah.
Brian will always be my guy.
Yeah. Even though, like, I love AC/DC, but all their songs are within a gambit about this wine. Like, they know what they do, and this is what they do.
Well, yeah, but that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like
Kiss is
they
the
have
same
the
way.
least amount of range, though.
What's that?
I feel like they have the least amount of range.
No,
Although,
but I think that's what you have to do. Metallica's no different. You
yeah,
know, I
they
mean, Metallica would just introduce different ways of playing. It's like, hey, let's get a band, let's get an orchestra,
yeah,
to play. But the reality is, it's like it's the same shit. All
yeah.
we're just trying to do is make it the gimmick. We're
Well, see,
making the gimmick seem bigger.
where Metallica turned was the Black Album with Bob Rock, and everyone hated it at first. But now there's like people now act like they didn't hate it back then, or there's like some history thing going on that people are lying about because everyone hated the Black Album when it came with that. Metallica sold out. They went with Bob Rock. This is like a
You're talking about the one with the snake on the cover, right?
yeah, the most popular album they ever made.
Dude, that was actually the first Metallica album I ever bought.
Yeah,
because I didn't really follow them until then, and then that one came out. And I was like, oh, I like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'll take the sold out, man.
the music on that album, while not as hard as some of the other albums, my personal favorite is probably it's not Kill 'Em All. Ride the Lightning maybe, but those were much harder edged albums. But the music is probably the best when you get to the Black Album. The actual music.
Yeah. Well, they've evolved enough. But I think albums like that though really help bands sell old stuff.
Yeah.
Because you hear that and you go, oh shit, I wonder what else they have. And then you go back and because there's always a poppy song in there somewhere, right? I mean, when you hear old Metallica shit, you're always like, oh yeah, master of puppets, and you're going. Plenty of people would never have listened to that song without hearing the Black Album and going, I wonder what else I like, because some of these guys think like literally that was their first album, and it's like,
oh yeah, most people do, yeah.
And then they go, oh shit, they had other stuff, and it's like they'll go back and like, oh, I kind of like this, or I kind of like that.
Wow.
So I feel like as a band, you literally strive to have that one album that just puts you over, so that people will go back and go, oh shit, like these guys have an awesome back catalog that I didn't know anything about. And bands that never get to that point always suffer for it. Like Megadeth is one of those bands that's like they have a shit ton of stuff that people absolutely love, but they never had that. They had one song, or two songs.
Euthanasia was probably their most popular album, and I would reckon that most people only know a few songs off it at most.
Yeah, it's kind of how like one of Pink Floyd's Pink Floyd had Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
And Dark Side of the Moon just fucking lit it up for Pink Floyd. And then the fucking Wall.
Yeah.
And it's like they struck lightning twice.
I think if that's the two albums people could think of if they thought of, but if they had to name songs, they would probably name Brick in the Wall and maybe Comfortably Numb.
Yeah.
That'd probably be the two songs.
Which is from the Wall.
Right, which is from the Wall. Which is like the two most popular songs, I think.
Yeah, because Dark Side of the Moon really isn't a great album.
Right, yeah.
It just was at its time.
It's the most concept album.
Yeah. The Wall to me was way better, but even still, it was like, and I love Pink Floyd. I got a ton of Pink Floyd stuff, but I like their later stuff. They're again, once they started to fall apart, Roger Waters was like, oh, I'm leaving. Okay, good. You're annoying.
Like what happened with Metallica? They're building Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Garage Days, Black Album's the peak, and then from there, man, for me personally, they started every album was worse than the
Reloaded.
Yeah, Load was first, then Reloaded. Load was acceptable.
I like the cover album they did,
but the stuff they're doing now, my God. Yeah, Garage Days was awesome. They done two Garage Days, an older one and a newer one. But
David Gilmour is amazing.
Sucks.
Yeah. Well, but there again, that's the thing. Like somebody asked me in the last show. It's like, what about the old stuff compared to the new stuff? And it's like, listen, it's come and gone. Like, what is it? Andre 3000 from, those guys. He was he just came out with a woodwind because he plays like the flute or some shit now. And he came out with an album for that, and it's terrible. But whatever, someone asked him to do it, he did it. What the fuck? Why not, right? But they said, why don't you come out with another album? And he said it best. He was like, because the shit we sung about and everybody wanted to hear, I don't do anymore. Like, I'm married. I have a kid. What do you want me to sing about? Changing fucking diapers? I'm not flossing. I don't have bitches and hoes. It's like, I don't have that life anymore to where it's not real, and it made me laugh because I was thinking about like MC Hammer, and that thing went to the moon, and he just didn't know when to let go.
And he's all but forgotten nowadays, which is for how big he was when he was, it's insane.
Yeah.
He was like maybe not Taylor Swift big, but he was in that realm. Like,
I mean, I think he was for that time, but he didn't know when to let go. And like when he put Humps in the Rumps or whatever the hell it was, where he tried to get ghetto, and it's like, dude, that's not you. We know that's not you. Like you can't play, you can't go dirty.
Right. Yeah. Like, he wanted to be Sir Mix-a-Lot. He was the pop guy that like everybody could dance to, but he wanted to be the Sir Mix-a-Lot guy that everyone could dance to. And you're not Sir Mix-a-Lot. Like you do your thing and you're awesome at it. You're not Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I'm not a Slipknot guy. I'm not a Slipknot guy. I don't have and it's funny you say that because like I have no Slipknot whatsoever. I've tried to get, and I can't. I'd rather listen to Nickelback. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I got no problem.
Are starting to like Nickelback again?
I've never not liked Nickelback. I've always liked them.
I never really liked Nickelback. Their popular songs, I'm not gonna hate on them, but they were never any of my favorite songs.
That's just I like their sound. I'm not gonna sit there and go like, oh, classic cut on side B. No, I like the shit that was popular. I think it's good.
I liked Creed. Same thing. Creed's like the same thing as Nickelback. But I like their early album stuff. So it's it's the same thing. And my favorite band of all time is Third Eye Blind, which is the most poppiest stuff you can get. But
no, and it's funny too because like I did the experiment with Van Halen, and I was listening to him. And I'm like, maybe in the 70s this might have seemed hardcore, but the reality is it is poppy rock music, and it always has been poppy rock music. It's never not been poppy rock. I mean, Sammy Hagar came in and just made it what it was.
Yeah.
But up until then, I mean, David was the ultimate frontman of poppy rock music. And I mean, it's like none of that shit was hardcore rock music. I mean, like Metallica and Megadeth and all those guys.
But you can't. When you hear the bass line from Running with the Devil, like a bass line like that, it's very poppy, but it's like you can't deny how good that. Boom.
Oh yeah, but I mean, still though, it's just like pop rock.
It is, but it's
and it doesn't exist anymore. That genre is dead. That's gone. It doesn't happen. The alternative music is with the speed drums from the 90s or the 2000s. Like you said, that music is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And the sad thing is, it's almost gone by the way of disco, in that no one even recognizes it. It's like it doesn't even have a fan base because all you guys that listen to that crap, like, let it go.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like there's that whole subset of this alternative music that like
it's gone. Yeah.
It's gone. The 25 bands that were out that were really popular, they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, punk rock's gone.
And it's funny because you still like you go to the rock. There's always a rock channel in your town.
Yeah,
and they're all playing the same shit. They're all playing the shit from the 70s.
Yeah,
and they occasionally drop in some 90s rock.
Country was really bad about that. So country used to do that, and they still to this day will play 80s, 90s country.
Yeah,
but I think now country has came more to the forefront with people like Morgan Wall and
I have no idea who any of these people are.
He's got some really catchy songs. Like, I didn't like him at first, but some of them I'm warming up to them. And then like Zach Bryan and Chris Stapleton, some of those, like, they brought it.
But they're again, the thing about country is that, you know, every 10 years they flip it.
Yeah.
Every decade it just goes away, you know, because I mean, when you look at like Brooks and Dunn was the duet, they won I don't know how many goddamn awards.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at whoever was before them and whoever's, you know, like they're all gone. You know, and these guys that are out now, they're all going to be gone. And like, you know, Taylor Swift jumping off of that train was probably the best move she ever made.
Well, that's the thing. All countries pop now. All countries pop,
and it's all washable.
Yeah,
you know, it's just it all disappears. It's like, you know, I laugh because who's it? Shit, there's one guy that all my exes lives in Texas.
Yeah, George Strait.
Classic George. Like, he rode that thing. He broke all rules, right? Because I mean, he stayed on way too long, and everyone was like, "How's this guy still doing it?"
Dude, he's had a #1 hit, so many times, and
he's still, you know, he retired, thank God, but I mean, he retired. He wasn't retired,
right?
You know, he was still making fucking country songs his way, and people were still listening to it, and it was like, holy fuck, how the hell is this guy doing this shit? But there again, did he peak out at pure country? Maybe. I don't know. But, you know, Garth Brooks is a fucking Vegas show, I guess, now. You know, probably does great. But I mean, you know, his ride to fame, he made so much money. Who the fuck cares?
Did you watch the documentary on him?
No.
That one's pretty good.
Really?
Like, because it talks about, remember when he was Chris?
Oh God, yes, that was so.
They talk about the whole thing, man. It's great. It's really,
that was so.
Like, it's not like it's so cringe. Like, a lot of this shit's cringe, but it's just great to like hear, because he actually participated in it, and it's great to hear his side of like what happened. Speaking of which, what are we watching next week?
Modern country music, absolutely. I have no idea. I have no access to anything. So, have you started watching? Not that would matter. Did you watch Halo?
No, I didn't finish it.
Yeah,
not even the first season.
The new season just started. It's pretty fantastic. See, The Last Airbender is out. Oh, Warrior is on Netflix now.
Yes. Yeah, I remember we were talking about that last time. And they're going to produce the next season. So
yeah, I watched. I had to wait in the car today, so I watched season 2, episode 8, the fight scene.
Yeah.
Again, that is the best.
Yeah, that was like, that one gave me chills.
That is the best goddamn fight scene.
Did you see they have a Last Airbender live action?
It was actually the first thing that pops up. I'm actually anxious to watch that.
Yeah.
That'll be my
should we watch that as much as we want to by next week, and then we'll talk about how far we got?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll probably maybe get one episode in, so 1 or 2 episodes.
I've heard mixed reviews, but we'll see.
I feel by then we'll have a good idea of what it's going to be. Right. So I have high hopes for it.
All right. At least one episode of The Last Airbender on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed The Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix. I watched The Blue Eye Samurai when it first came out. It is fantastic. I didn't even realize I followed the artist that drew it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's called The Blue Eye Samurai. It's about a girl that her mom was raped by a Caucasian. Her mom was Japanese.
Yeah.
Was raped by a white guy, and she was born, but she pretends to be a guy so that people will leave her alone. But she became a badass samurai, like fucking Neo Matrix style level, like impossibly good. How bad? And so ensues the story of her going to get her revenge to kill the man that raped her mom. It's actually a really good story, and the artwork
sounds like Kill Bill, like a Kill Bill-ish
Yeah, probably. I never really got to watch 1 and 2 on that, but that's called The Blue-Eyed Samurai is what we're talking about. It's fantastic. The artwork is great. The story is great. Yeah, Blue-Eyed Samurai. And the story is it moves along. There's some stuff that happens between it and that to make the story bigger. But yeah, it's one of those characters where you're just like, oh yeah, please kick everyone's ass. They just make you want to like her so much, and you do. Blood, gore, nudity on Netflix. Yep, it's amazing.
I'll check
Guys,
it.
watch it next week and tell me what you think. Watch a couple episodes. It's totally worth the watch. How she becomes badass is because the guy that trains her is blind. So he doesn't realize she's a woman. He does, but he doesn't care because
Right.
he's just, doesn't matter. Boobies, not from her, but she does the whole gymnastic style thing, where she wraps her chest, which we've seen in movies before.
Yeah, Boys Don't Cry. Remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
So, all right. That's what we got. Thank you guys for watching as always. Go forth, be merry. Have a fantastic rest of your week.
And we'll see you next week.